Hey everyone, welcome back to Miniature Painting 101, a series of videos where I teach you all about painting miniatures from start to finish and everything in between. And this is part 109, color temperature, discussing cooler versus warmer colors under various circumstances, and what makes a color cooler versus warmer. So that begs the question, what is color temperature? You see, it was recently brought to my attention that in many of my painting tutorials, as well as other people's, we discuss warmer or cooler colors. And what makes a color cooler or warmer? Essentially, it has to do with the amount of red or blue in it, but I will be discussing that along with the entire spectrum of colors in this week's Miniature Painting 101, and which colors are cooler to which ones and which ones are warmer to which ones.
So in color theory, the hottest color is completely red. So red is hot. When you see red, you think of, burns, fire, warmth. The hot faucet. Red means warm. And the more red it is, the warmer the color. Pure red, like this, is hot. It is the warmest color that you can have in the color spectrum. On the other end of the spectrum is blue. Blue is the coldest color in the color spectrum. Basically, the more blue in a color, the colder it is. When you think of blue, you think of ice, you think of the cold faucet, cool items. Blue means cool. It is the coolest color in the spectrum of colors. And now we're going to use the amount of red and the amount of blue to establish the color spectrum of hot to cold. So, on one side of the spectrum, as I said, we have hot. The warmest color, red. And on the other side, coldest color will be blue, right? So blue, coldest, red, warmest. Now, a color that's in between them, those technically gets lumped in with the warmer colors, is yellow. Now yellow, being the third primary color, is technically an absence of blue or yellow or red. It doesn't have any red or blue in it, but it tends to be lumped in with the warmer colors of the spectrum. So this is one half of the color spectrum here. So we have red on one side, blue on the other, and yellow in the middle. To go from yellow to the colder side of the spectrum, all we have to do is add or subtract red or blue. If we add red, it becomes warmer. If we subtract red, colder. If we add blue, colder. If we subtract blue, warmer, right? It's just like water. If you mix temperatures of water, if you add more cold water, it becomes colder. If you add more warm water, it becomes warmer. So all we have to do is imagine to go to the colder side of the spectrum from yellow is add some blue. And simple color theory dictates that when we add yellow to blue, we get green. So green is the colder color to yellow in the color spectrum. And on the other end, if we want to go from yellow to the higher end, we could either subtract blue, but it's hard to imagine what yellow minus blue would equal. So what we're going to do is we're just going to simply add red. And simple color theory once again, if we add red, we get an orange. So red is the hottest, blue is the coldest, and what people tend to lump in is that red, orange, and yellows are very warm colors, and that blue and greens tend to be colder colors. However, it's all relative to each other. In the spectrum of colors, obviously these are the colders and these are the warmers, but you can have colors that are colder or warmer to each other based on where they fit in the spectrum. On the other side of the color spectrum wheel, basically, we have just red and blue with no intermediate color of yellow, right? What if we just use these two as a reference point? Well, the color in between them, obviously, is red and blue combined. So red plus blue equals purple. Purple is colder than red and warmer than blue. But it doesn't belong on the other side of the spectrum because there's no yellow in purple, right? It's just simply a combination of reds and blues. So though purple tends to get once again lumped in with the colder colors, it is a relative color. So if you wanted to go colder than red, you'd go purple. If you wanted to go warmer than blue, you could go purple. If you wanted to use this half of the color wheel. But that begs the question, how do you know between the same color which one's colder and which one's warmer? And once again, it's just the degree of blue or red in the color. You can add more blue, you can decrease the blue, or you can add more red or decrease the red in a color. So if we were to take green, let's take a green as an example. So this is Warpstone Green from the Citadel range. If we wanted to think about colder colors, we could just put the blue beside it. And if we wanted to think about warmer colors, we can put the yellow beside it. Because we know that if we remove the blue, right, from green, we get yellow. If we remove blue, it becomes warmer. And if we add more blue, we get blue eventually, right? So the easiest way to think about this situation is if you take a color, like here's Caliban green, which one is it closer to? Does Caliban green become closer, not just based on shade, where it falls in the spectrum? So if I put Caliban green here, Caliban green is obviously not closer to yellow than Warpstone Glow. But vice versa, it is closer to blue than Warpstone Glow. So we would put it here on the spectrum. So if I was using Warpstone Glow as a base color and I wanted to go colder, I would use Caliban green, for example. Vice versa, on the other end of the spectrum, if I was thinking of a warmer color, once again, I could take this color, like Moot Green, right? And once again, put it here. Is it closer to the blue than it is Warpstone Glow? No, Warpstone Glow is closer to the blue than Moot Green. If I put it here, is Warpstone Glow closer to Ethereal Yellow than Moot Green is to Ethereal Yellow? No, Moot Green is closer to Ethereal Yellow, right? So Moot Green is a warmer color than Warpstone Glow, and Caliban Green is a colder color than Warpstone Glow. And again, you can do this same comparison within any color. You can even think about warmer and colder colors when it comes to white. And I will be doing some videos in the near future about highlighting with white with warmer and colder colors. White is basically a neutral color, right? However, there can be slight off-whites, which are colder or warmer than white. For example, if we were to take white scars and we wanted to bring it to the colder end of the spectrum, it would basically have a blue tint to it. So we would get a color like Ghost White from Reaper. Reaper, as you see, it's a slight off-white, but has a slight blue tint to it. So being more blue than white, it is a colder color than white, and it's a cold off-white. On the other end of the spectrum, if we wanted to go warmer, we would go to the browns, because essentially browns have more reds in them than white. And so a slight off-white that'd be warmer than white scars would be Screaming Skull by GW. It is, once again, it's a slight off-white, it's almost a white, but it is warmer than the white because it has less blue in it than the white. And finally, this same warmer or colder logic can be applied to metallics even. So basically a very neutral one would be Runefang Steel, right? It's almost a white. It's so bright steel, so bright silver that Runefang Steel would be a neutral, like in the middle ground color. If I wanted to go colder than Runefang Steel, I would go with a color like Cold Steel, as the name suggests, from P3. The reason being, as you can see here, it has a lot of blues in it. It's a colder color. By adding blue to it, you get a colder metallic, and you get it there. However, if I wanted to go on the other side of the spectrum, I could go to Auric Armor Gold, for example. Auric Armor Gold, being a yellow, right, is as we've seen, is a much more bright and warmer color than Runefang Steel. And an even warmer color would then be Brass Scorpion. Because as you can see, Brass Scorpion has a lot of red in it. You can even see when it separates. A lot of reds in Brass Scorpion. So Brass Scorpion with metallics would be a lot warmer of a color than Auric Armor Gold, which is warmer than Runefang Steel, which is warmer than Cold Steel. And so you can even apply the warm and cold spectrum to metallics. And finally, one of the questions I get asked is, can you apply the same warmer, colder logic to the extreme colors of red and blue? And you can. So let's take a color, Evil Sun's Scarlet from GW. Once again, if we were trying to figure out a colder or warmer color for Evil Sun Scarlet, we would take then the next color in the spectrum, which we know is an orange, right, for the colder, because we know that red, right? Or sorry, that we know that red with less red would end up being an orange, right? It's closer to yellow than it is to the reds, based on our full spectrum. We can take a color like Mephiston red and compare it. Is it closer to orange than Evil Sun Scarlet? The answer is no. This is the truest red from the Citadel range. So this one is the warmest color. On the other end, we have Wild Rider red, which is another red from Citadel. We could put it right here, and as you can see, it is closer to the orange than the Evil Sun Scarlet. So if we were to do within a red, we would know that Mephiston red is the warmest red, and Wild Rider red is the coldest red. A misconception about this is that Wild Rider red is a warmer red than Mephiston red, but that's actually not the case, because Mephiston red is a more truer red. It is the warmest color, and Wild Rider red is actually the coldest color in this particular example.
So that concludes our brief lesson on warmer versus cooler tones of colors. I really hope you enjoyed this episode and learned a bit. Stay tuned for next week's episodes, where we will start applying warmer versus cooler colors in certain scenarios. But if you don't want to wait for next week, check out The Warp. Click on the link below for a free 14-day trial to my premium YouTube channel. We're not only going to see the next 6 months worth of Miniature Painting 101 episodes before anyone else, you'll get to see over 100 start-to-finish painting tutorials, dozens of battle reports and face-off episodes, an Airbrush 101 series, just some awesome wargaming content, so go ahead and check it out. I think you'll love it. Stay tuned for more videos. Until next time, this is Jay saying, happy painting, everyone.